New breed, global truth. New breed, yeah. It's a wave to it. Level up, yeah. I'm enemy of the state. Gene Hackman, yeah. See the cameras watching. And the street tactics, a bunch of weak bastards, couple fiend rappers, broken wrist, choke chains, they wear their jeans backwards. This is poetry in motion, closed captioning, running victory laps, no more relapsing. This is activism, felt the pain of the world, so they had to listen. Fighting devils every punch, got bad intentions. Drink water, mind my business, and read the scriptures. Right. And now we gifted, anointed by the holy word. Yes. Niggas hate the truth, it's so absurd. Preach. Yes, they vision blurred. My soul bleeding every verb, may I strike a nerve. Flip the channel, all I see is psycho battle. Probably hit them one time before they hit the gravel. I'm a lyrical tyrant, a pivotal giant. Praying to the east while my mind's on Mount Zion. I think they mad cause we beaming. They intentions are seeping through their eyes full of demons. So much attention they seeking. Yeah, them haters be tweaking. I hit the road and I'm loving it. Searching for prominence like the Ark of the Covenant. Time to do the impossible. These endeavors I juggle it. The Lord got his hands on me cause he got a plan for me. They souls got a dark hole just like a cavity. His envy up in your heart, eating you like a shark. They prey on our downfall but flee when we sound off. The devil's a coward, ain't he? And we too calculated not to be infiltrated, and barely we celebrated. I sit under palm trees, jot on these loose leaves, flow with the currents, baby, just like I'm Bruce Lee. I'm moving like water now, but I'm not watered down. Crossing these borders, a couple shots of this crown. The results of a long time coming. Lost generation, causing all this ruckus. Ring of fire around the camp they can't touch. Ring of fire around the camp they can't touch. The results of a long time coming. Lost generation, causing all this ruckus. It's on us. Ring of fire around the camp they can't touch. Ring of fire around the camp they can't touch. Yeah. My Lordy, Lord, I maintain. Let us maintain. Cause I'm a soldier at war. We the soldiers. And we gon' even the score. It's our time. It ain't on us, but it's in us. It ain't on us, but it's in us. We glowed up. We glowed up. The results of a long time coming. Lost generation, causing all this ruckus. It's our time. Ring of fire around the camp they can't touch. They can't touch us. Ring of fire around the camp they can't touch us. Ring of fire. Yeah. My Lordy, Lord, I maintain, cause I'm a soldier at war, and we gon' even the score. It ain't on us, but it's in us. We glowed up. We glowed up. The results of a long time coming. Lost generation, causing all this ruckus. Ring of fire around the camp, they can't touch us. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Peace and blessings to the chat on your way in. Show your support by hitting the like button. We're about to go in. First and foremost, if you like that song right there, you can find it exclusively on New Breed Universal ENT via YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to my other channel, go over there, subscribe, turn your notification bell on, do all of that stuff you got to do so you can get these songs as they being uploaded. Man, it's a lot going on in the world. I see everybody rolling in pretty quick. Stoics in the building, Misfit King, Ledge is in the house, Young Gene, Brandon Stern. Yo, my legacy transform, what it do, family? RJ, Young Gene, daughter of the Most High Yah. All right, all right. Now, of course, put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me clearly. We're going to be talking about sleeper cells today. Oh, yeah. In case you're wondering what a sleeper cell is, ladies and gentlemen, a sleeper cell is pretty much like a selective group of spies, terrorist agents that remain inactive until they get the word, until there's a target population and the order is sent forth. That's a sleeper cell. And that's what you see in a whole lot of sprinkled out through the society that we're living in, particularly in major cities. And they're all over the place. They've been activated right on Halloween weekend and on Halloween day. Well, at least the morning of. I know you all have heard about the New York City shooter, I believe from Bronx, East Bronx, if I'm not mistaken. We got to talk about that individual. We got to talk about that individual for real, because that's a sleeper cell, no doubt about it. So is Robert Card. And I believe the sleeper cell's name is Jason Pass, the one who killed his neighbors, killed the stepson and the father. We got to talk about that, because it's a very deep rabbit hole that goes with that. And then as of late today, the cop was taken out by, let me slow my roll. First of all, it was a former cop who did the shooting, and he happened to be taken out by the NYPD as well. And we got to talk about that, because I have my theory on why this happened, and we're going to really discuss it. So you got Robert Card, but not only that, there was another shooter that shot up 15 people in Chicago at a Halloween party. And of course, I covered that story, and there's a content creator associated with that party. He was the main promoter. His name is Skin Bone, and he got a lot of promotion himself because of this shooting. And I believe personally, and just my thoughts, I have no way of really proving this, but I believe he was part of a ritual. And I believe the shooter involved in that case was also a sleeper cell as well. We're going to talk about that first. We got to cover all these sleeper cells, and then we're going to get to the nitty gritty. So the first one, let me see. We got the first one charged. All right. This the one who shot 15 people at the Chicago party, the Halloween party. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe he's personally a patsy, a fall guy, if you will. And this patsy and fall guy is getting thrown under the rug, because what we have happening here is these demonic sleeper cells are crashing out and they're being sacrificed. Now, this is the first one that's sacrificed with jail time, with prison time. The other two were taken out because the sleeper cell essentially is supposed to be taken out, so there's no evidence, right? And look, you look at Skin Bone, it equals 332, which is the skull and bones. And this is a content creator who is some sort of comedian that's not funny. He was involved. He got a larger following based on this particular shooting. But we'll talk about this. Let's see what happened. He has been charged. The shooter has been charged. I believe him to be a patsy. All right, so his name's Skin Bone, pardon me. But we talked about that. I don't trust these YouTube dudes. I feel like, or a lot of these social media cats, they be chasing clout. And, they'll do anything to make it to the next level. And that includes setting the stage for one of these patsies to be let loose on the public. But that's just my theory. I don't know the man, but based on his response, which I reacted to, he didn't seem right to me, using my discernment. A man wearing sunglasses off a party that he promoted, not facing the people, when there was 15 people shot at your party, and now all of a sudden you're getting a bigger following. All of a sudden the news is talking about you. Doesn't make sense. But let's talk about the man who was charged with 15 counts, 15 shots, shot 15 people at this Halloween party. And then we're going to talk about the New York City Jason Pass situation, but we're going to do this one at a time. So pound the like button. We about to go in.
Shooting is now facing charges. 15 people were hurt during a Halloween party over the weekend. Our Marissa Perlman was there as police announced the charges just within the last hour. Marissa, what can you tell us?
Well, Brett, the state's attorney is saying they were able to make this arrest so quickly because the community, the survivors who were at this party, spoke with police and spoke up. Now, we do know that 48-year-old Williams Groves, as you mentioned, now facing charges. He's been in custody for a couple days now.
So this is the man that was at the Chicago party with the influencer who claimed it was his party, Skinbone. And I'm associating all of this together because it's all going to make sense at the end. But he was charged with 15, I guess, counts of murder. And could it have been just some random fool that was out here bamming out because he couldn't get with a female in there? And he, you have these bammers out here. You have these goofies out here who really do be shooting up parties, right? Just because things ain't going their way. Or could it have been that this was supposed to be some type of sacrifice went wrong, right? But nonetheless, this is a horrible thing because the Skinbone dude, what really doesn't sit right with me is the fact that Skinbone used it as promotion. He self-promoted all through his response, talking about how they the hottest in the city. He wore sunglasses, not facing the people, and it just doesn't make sense. So this guy could be some type of patsy fall guy. He could have been hired. We don't know, but this is a real bad situation. This is why we tell people to stay out of these damn Halloween parties, stay out of large groups of people in general, man, because there's sleeper cells all over the place. There's Manchurian candidates all over the place ready to crash out. You understand? And that's what's going on, particularly up in these cities. You got all these sleeper cells in hibernation, just waiting to crash out, especially when there's melee going on. And a lot of these situations, there'd be more than one shooter, and you don't even know about that. The news ain't telling you that. But could this just be a fall guy for a sacrifice that went wrong? Think about it.
He's a known felon who police say should not have had a gun, now charged with 15 counts of attempted murder, among other charges. Now, it's still under investigation how he actually was able to possess that gun that was used. The unlicensed party was at a warehouse on 13th and Pulaski. City records listed as an art gallery, but since 2021, the buildings department questioned if it was operating as an unlicensed club. Investigators say the suspect got angry after being kicked out and then returned with a gun and started shooting. As we mentioned, 15 people.
I mean, how was he able to get back in the party? Who let him back in? Like, all right, so he got kicked out. So he came back with a gun and did what? Clapped the people at the front door, I'm guessing, and just charged through? You know, this is crazy. They said they put him out of the party and he just came back. Yep, somebody said, Floridian Rollo says, that dude look a lot like the dude from NYC. He absolutely do. Yeah, he does look like him, but we're going to talk about him next. Maybe they have a certain type of people they like to choose for these dummy missions. But let's see.
People total were shot. We do know all of their conditions have been upgraded. We've also learned police are shutting down the location where this happened. Investigators are looking into whether the promoters or the building owners could also be facing charges.
Oh, did you hear that? Oh, they're looking in to see if the promoters could be facing charges. See, this is what you got to understand, ladies and gentlemen. That's deep right there. Because this dude Skinbone, who responded, admitted to being a promoter on record. He's on the news. And he should be held liable. See, this is what you got to understand. When you promote certain parties and certain things happen, you can face charges, ladies and gentlemen. You can face charges. If you're responsible for this said party and something happens, they're going to see about charging you because guess what? You sent the invites. You were responsible for who came in and out of that door. That's why party promotion ain't no joke. They can come for this individual content creator who's all on social media, gaining clout off of people who died or were shot. I believe all 15 people were injured. But nonetheless, if those people who were injured decide that they want to press charges on the promoters, which he's the main face of the whole situation, you can face charges. That's why at the first video, I was like, either he promoted it or he didn't. He claimed it was his party. So, hey, you never know, man. You never know. We'll see. We'll see how this thing plays out. Let's go.
Being a part of these two dynamic communities, make no mistake about it, when violence like this disrupts our city, it's literally at our front doors. And those in my community and those who are in my faith community have been impacted for a very long time by the recklessness of those who wish to create harm and fear.
People are afraid. People are afraid to speak up. Usually it might take days or weeks.
Now I'm seeing people in the chat saying, Bree, there wasn't no real security in there. That's crazy because Skinbone got over 600,000 subs. Why would you throw a party in a certain location and it has no security, has no real security, bro? You can be charged with right along with that assailant. Seriously. That's a damn shame, man.
For someone to come and say that they've seen something. In the immediate aftermath of this, the residents of Lawndale, the people who were at that party, spoke. They sat down with our law enforcement partners. They came in and spoke to the state's attorney's office expeditiously. Every piece of evidence that could be gathered from them, for those who were on site, they were willing to share.
So you heard from the state's attorney there just how the community, as she said, stepped up, shared information, and that's how they were able to make this arrest. Now, Groves will appear in court.
Now, imagine if every person that this demonic sleeper cell shot died on the scene. Imagine that, ladies and gentlemen. Now, notice on the news, it said that it was the actual survivors, the survivors who got this person charged. They were able to point them out because they survived the shots. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. Do you think Skinbone and the rest of the people who promoted through the party, the people who were in there, do you think they would have cooperated with the law? Do you think they would have cooperated with the law, or they would have just been, you know, totally oblivious to what happened at a party that they threw, where all these people were in danger? That's really something to consider right there.
At noon today, will be held in custody pre-trial, according to the state's attorney's office. We do know a victims assistance program for everyone who was at the party. That will also be held today from noon to 7. This is at the Young Men's Education Network. That's on South Pulaski. They'll be offering.
Man, it's a lot going on, man. This weekend, this Halloween weekend was insane. People getting shot up, killed left and right. Straight war out there. Now, there's something very interesting about the New York City incident that took place, where a man offed his two neighbors, stepson and a father. Now, what I'm really waiting for is more details to come out about who that father was. Now, I know his name was released to the public. It was something to the effect of he had an interesting name like Baldini. I believe his name was like Baldini Mathrin. Baldini Mathrin. I want more details to come out about that, his particular life, because I personally believe that he was a target. It was a targeted kill. And I have various reasons for believing that. So hopefully in the near future, there'll be more that comes out about Baldini, about his life in particular. But what I want to hone in on with this New York City violent, demonic sleeper cell, because he was most indefinitely a sleeper cell. There's an article I want to share with you all, and we got to really read in between the lines here. and this is okay, and this is from Gothamist. You know, Gothamist is interesting because, you know, they're trying to turn NYC into Gotham City. So, you know, New York is turning to Gotham City. So there's going to be all kind of maniacs, all kind of, you know, entities hiding among the people ready to, you know, pop off and crash out. They really on demon time right now. Now, something I wanted to read about this. I want to more so focus on the Jason Pass, his life as a former cop, because sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, it be undercovers, and I personally believe that this man was an undercover cop. I don't think he was fired from the police station, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to show you some evidence here. I believe he was an undercover cop. Make no mistake about that. He was a sleeper cell sent on a mission to kill that night. Now, let's talk about it. The man police suspect was behind a Sunday night shooting that killed a Brooklyn man and his stepfather is a former state correction officer, according to records. NYPD Chief of Detectives Joseph Kinney said Tuesday that the department is searching for 47-year-old Jason Pass in connection with the fatal shooting of his neighbor, 27-year-old Chinwe Mode and 47-year-old Baldimi Mathurin. So the 27-year-old, that's his name, Chinwe Mode. These are interesting names here. In East Flatbush. Surveillance video circulating on social media shows Pass confronting Mary Luke Delau, her husband Mathurin, and her son made in the hallway. So we all know what happened, right? The father came out with a pair of scissors. He brought a knife to a gunfight, and the wife came out to interrupt the altercation, which she should have been in the house. And as the man turns his back, the killer begins to send fatal shots and hitting him. And then the stepson begins to dart towards his direction. And then he turns and he hits him, right? But let's more so focus on this NY, him being a former cop. Because my first question out of all this, y'all, the first thing I wanted to know is, why was he fired? That was the first question. Why? The way my mind worked was like, yo, why was he fired as a police officer? That would tell me all I need to know about this. Now, let's talk about it. The New York Department of Corrections and Community Supervision confirmed Pass was a corrections officer at the Sing Sing Correctional Facility in Ossing from September 2004 to June 2005 until he was terminated. Now listen very carefully. According to prison spokesperson Thomas Maley, said the agency had no additional comments due to the ongoing investigation and that he could not confirm a reason for Pass firing because the relevant employees' records were destroyed after a 7-year retention period. Wow. What I just gave y'all was key. They claim he was fired after a year. Now they're telling you conveniently that the records were destroyed and they cannot tell you why he was fired. From the words of Umar, y'all don't find that suspicious? Ladies and gentlemen, he was a cop. They destroyed the records right in time, huh? You telling me he was fired and these records are sealed and he just did what he did? Somebody said that's just regular policy. Oh, that's what you're saying. It's just regular policy. So conveniently, he crashes out when this policy runs out. And the public are not preview to why he was fired. It doesn't make sense. Could he have been still working for the police department? Could he have still been undercover? Let me tell you something. When you go in too deep, they come up with a cover story for you. Listen, they can make up a story and say that you were fired from this time to that time. And really, you done went deep undercover. You done went deep. I'm telling you, when you look at how they do these sting operations and these missions, when they are placing these entities in the hood and the projects, when they do this, they have to come up with a whole story, bro. And they have to cover all their bases. I personally believe he was a cop, and I believe the individual who was shot was a targeted individual. I believe he was in the gang stalking program, and what was happening was he was enduring noise campaigns. There was noise campaigns going on, probably from the neighbor. That's why he stormed out there with the scissors, because when you in that program, I'm gonna tell you, if you're a weak-minded person, if you're an undisciplined person, if you're an individual who don't know how to handle yourself, right? You're going to end up trying to crash out and not even understanding that your gang stalker is an actual cop or a high-level Freemason just placed in your neighborhood. And this is why we talk about getting out of the cities, getting into communal living, bro. You got to know who your neighbors are. You got to be around like-minded people. Because I can tell you right now, I believe he was gang stalking that man. And I believe that the wife was one of those imbeciles. She was one of those ladies who was probably wanting to see something go down. That's why she came out of the door in the first place, because if something like that is going on, an altercation between your neighbors, why the hell would you even come outside? Why would you come out the door unless you just one of them silly broads, little numbskull women who want to see some drama? Putting you and your son at jeopardy. I'm sorry, I got to hold her accountable too. You never get involved in a heated altercation like that. That's just absolutely insane. Or she could have been working for the program. You just never know. You never know. She could have been part of the damn program. It'd be your baby mama. It'd be your wife sometimes that get an offer that they can't refuse. And they'll be a part of these sting operations and missions to take the targeted individual out. That's why I can't wait till it's more brung out on this on the victim's life. It usually be those real close to you. I'm telling you. And they be playing you like a fool. Why? To get insurance money. Get that life insurance money. Wow. Flordine Rollo says her ex was a cop, New Breed. Wow. See? Now that's groundbreaking right there. If her ex was a cop, that could explain a lot. Was he a New York City cop? Was he in the NYPD? Because that could show her connection to this whole cesspool. That could show her a whole connection to this cesspool. If she was dealing with an NYC City cop, that would show a motive. Wow, that would give us a motive right there. That could be a vindictive cop on get back, setting the snare. I'm telling you, man, if we can validate that info, man. And then the story that they gave us, and we're going to get into that about them actually offing the dude, because this is what they do with sleeper cells. They don't never let them live to see another day. But again, let me reiterate some of this for those just joining. It says, let's talk about his so-called quote unquote termination. We're talking about Jason Pass. It says from September 24 to June, from September 2004 to June 05 until he was terminated, according to prison spokesperson, said the agency had no additional comments due to the ongoing investigation and that he could not confirm a reason for Pass being fired because the relevant employee records were destroyed after 7 years retention. It says
According to Daily News story from 2005, Pass was arrested while off duty for allegedly pointing a pistol and shouting explicit at two plainclothes police officers after honking and tailgating them in their unmarked car. He was arrested and charged with menacing and reckless endangerment. Wow. Are y'all hearing this? Are y'all hearing this? It said, according to the Daily Mail, y'all, Pass was arrested while off duty, allegedly pointing a pistol and shouting explicit at two plainclothes officers after honking and tailgating them in their unmarked car. He was arrested and charged with menacing and reckless endangerment. So let me get this right. Oh, we have a definite candidate right here, a definite sleeper cell right here. So according to their narrative, he was a wild card and he just happened to tailgate some police officers while he was off, trying to harass them and pointing pistols at them. And then we wonder why the NYPD offed him several years later. Damn. So what this shows is if the wife of the victim was associated with police, and we can see he was associated with police, the police will be killing two birds with one stone by taking out the victim and taking out the sleeper cell. Man, only a cop would know the other undercover guys. Why would he on his day off? Why on his day off would he be trailing some other cops and threatening them? Man, listen, bro. New York City is foul, bro. It's Gotham City out there, bro. The real villains in the blue suits, they got some drama. Boy, they got some drama up in the NYPD. Sure they. It's wild out there, boy. You really can't make this up. Now, I need to know, we got to confirm that the wife of the victim, her ex was a cop of the NYPD. We got to confirm that too, because that's going to really put the pieces together. And another odd thing is the camera. There's a whole camera right there. Like it was all just staged. It was almost like it was meant to play out in the public so the NYPD can cover all their bases. Because that don't add up, man. It's all on camera. This is all for the public to see. This is crazy. Now, this is something else. Again, he was arrested on his day off. That more than likely was a cover story. So that's when he might have went undercover, y'all. He might have went undercover during that arrest. He may have went undercover during that arrest. Yeah, I'm gonna share the link for you, Rollo. Give me a moment though. I'm gonna share that link for you. You can tap in, and then I'll let you in. I'm gonna have you backstage just for a minute because I'm gonna go over the news brief of these cops saying that they found him and snuffed him out. Because if they had any due process in this situation, it'd have been a whole can of worms opened up. I'm telling you right now. It says, as of Tuesday afternoon, police officials said the U.S. Marshal Service and Regional Fugitive Task Force were searching for Pass. He also worked for the MTA as a subway conductor from 2012 to 2018, according to the payment records and officials with knowledge of his work. Now, let me ask you this. What did he do if he was fired in 2005, what did he do for ends meet? How did he survive from that point on, all the way to 2012, all the way to 2018? Think about that. Could he have been undercover working at MTA? Let me tell you something. Some of those people in the train stations, they be undercover cops too, right there in MTA. Because that's a long stretch not to have a job, not to be making ends meet. That's just a thought, right? That's just a thought. I'm gonna bring Rollo in. What's going on, Akim? Shalom.
What's going on? Shalom, New Breed. Thank you for having me on, man.
Absolutely, anytime, family.
The reason why I believe that she was dealing with an ex-cop is because I used to talk to a woman that was a cop back in the days. And when we went out to Prospect Park, they had a sting operation going on, and the dude she was dealing with was at the place we went to. You know, you talk about the gang stalking. I didn't know about the truth at that time. This is going back 2005, 2006. I knew about the truth 2008. So I asked her, I said, who's that man that looking at us? That's your ex-husband? She ain't what? She was shocked because my awareness always been on before I knew the truth. I always observe the room before I do something with somebody.
Okay.
So the dude was working for the MTA. He was a stepdad. He was dealing with her for years. That camera they have, because I have family in the cop in the that's cops.
Right.
When you deal with somebody in that field and you see something you're not supposed to see, he saw something. I believe that dude wanted to leave her. And one thing about most Caribbean women, they enter life insurance and policies heavy in New York. They run that operation. So when you mentioned it, it hit my head because I talked about that on my live, man. She after that insurance policy because the MTA, they're going to give it to her. It's a big insurance policy.
Wow.
I have family members that work for the MTA. They didn't tell me, but I do my research on a lot of things, man.
Right.
MTA is a big insurance policy, fam.
So let me get this right. The victim worked for the MTA?
Yes.
Okay, because from what I'm reading here, it looked like that Jason Pass worked MTA.
He was undercover for the MTA, yes. They both work for the MTA, yes.
So they both work for the MTA?
Yes, you got MTA police, and then you got regular MTA bus driver. He was an MTA bus driver, yes.
So that's interesting. So they worked in the same field, the neighbors,
right?
Which is
correct.
That's another connection right there too, man. That's crazy. That's insane. But no, man, you making some good points. And who knows, man? You in a situation like that, them neighbors could have been dealing with each other. Meaning that man could have been dealing with that man's wife. It's just so much that could have been going on in that circumstance. But that's crazy, man. This is why we've been telling brothers to get out of these places, man. You want to get somewhere where you secure, where you know who your neighbors are, because there'd be a lot of perps, gang stalkers, sleeper cells, agents, Manchurian candidates, weirdos. They be all sprinkled out through these communities, and you just never know what can take place. But no doubt about it. Thanks for that, fam. I'm gonna go ahead and react to the news regarding this, because they claim that they found him and killed him, which is no surprise because anytime.
No, he went to another country. He went to Trinidad, man. He's a Trinidad, and the other guy's Jamaican. They both Caribbean.
Wow, interesting. And all of this happened on Halloween morning, so I think the timing is not a coincidence.
Yep.
Real talk.
All right, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for the input, fam.
Shalom and peace.
All right, shalom. Interesting. So they both work for MTA. That's very interesting right there. Now, let's go ahead and share the news. Play this video real quick. And if you gain an understanding, y'all, make sure you hit the like button. Share this video everywhere. You know what I'm saying? We breaking this down to the molecule to try to figure out what's going on here. All right. Let's go.
Afternoon. I'm Mary Calvi. Now on CBS 2 and streaming on CBS News New York. We begin with a deadly end to a 3-day-long manhunt in Brooklyn. Police shot and killed a man they say fatally shot 2 of his neighbors on Sunday. CBS News' John Diaz joins us now live from the scene in Bath Beach, Brooklyn. John.
Yeah, Mary, we want to get you right out here into the action as we zoom down live down Bay 44th Street here and try and show you the car where officials say this suspect was hiding inside. Police say they are still awaiting us.
Okay, so this is the scene right here where they claim the police killed him. All right. I'm just looking at all the diameters. If anybody got, what is the name of this street? Bath Beach, Brooklyn. Did they name the name of this street? Because maybe I can Google map this to see if it's exactly any ins and outs. Is it one way in, one way out? All of these little things matter, but let's go.
Say they are still awaiting a search warrant on the vehicle to see if the weapon allegedly used to kill 2 people on Sunday is still inside this.
Now, hold on now. Y'all got to get a search warrant to see if the weapon is still in there, but y'all claiming that he darted at y'all with a knife. If he had the weapon in the car, why the hell would he dart at y'all with a knife? This already don't make sense. This already don't make sense.
Vehicle, but we can tell you that police say the gun was not registered to him. Evidence cones are scattered throughout the corner Bay.
Who was the gun registered to? How do they know the gun wasn't? Hold on now, bro. Something is wrong there. Hold on.
Throughout the corner.
Listen to what they just said. They need a search warrant to see if the gun is in there. Then they said the gun wasn't registered to him. How the hell would they know that?
Was not registered to him. On Sunday is still inside this vehicle, but we can tell you that police say the gun was not registered to him.
How the hell they know if they need a search warrant to even check the weapon? How do you know that? Ballistics is not going to tell you. Bruh. That's a police gun. That's a police gun. I don't give a damn what nobody say. What they just told you was such nonsense. Bro, that's a police gun, bro. ain't no damn way. Hold up. So you can't tell by ballistics who the gun was registered to. If you have not found the murder weapon, you know the weapon wasn't registered to him. How the hell? Oh, man, this is crazy. That's a police weapon. He was undercover, y'all. He's an undercover cop.
Evidence cones are scattered throughout the corner Bay 44th Street and Harway Avenue, with numerous police investigating. The scene much calmer now, moments after police say a wild encounter with the murder suspect ended deadly.
They established dialogue. They spoke for a few minutes. And then at a point, the male who was armed at a knife lunged at one of the officers.
They established dialogue. So they were just sitting there talking? And he just lunged at one of the officers. How many officers was present? And they were, what was there to talk about? He was a fugitive.
Causing the officers to fire for their own safety.
Police say the person they shot was 47-year-old Jason Pass, a Brooklyn man who was on the run after allegedly shooting his 2 neighbors dead Sunday.
Y'all, this shit don't make no sense, bro. Logically speaking, this is just all lies. They lying. It makes absolutely no sense. This is one of the biggest cover-ups that I've seen from the NYPD.
Chief of Patrol John Schell says while a hostage negotiation team was on its way, officers on scene tried to talk to Pass for 15 minutes before he says they were forced to shoot him 4 times.
What? They talked to him for 15 minutes before they were forced to shoot him 4 times. Yo, do you know how long 15 minutes is? when you're negotiating? 15 minutes. Y'all had a 15-minute conversation before you were forced to shoot him. What the hell was y'all talking about? It sounded like to me that you were negotiating with him a cover story. That's a long-ass conversation. This is weird. He must have been an undercover cop and y'all were having a conversation. 15 minutes is a long damn time to be talking to a fugitive who just killed 2 of his neighbors. So let me get this right. You pull up on a fugitive who's sitting in a car. You know exactly who he is because he used to work with y'all, allegedly. Used to. I think he's still a cop. He was arrested several odd years ago for running up on cops, harassing y'all, tailgating y'all with a gun. So this man is dangerous. He's dangerous because he got arrested for tailgating cops on his day off with a gun. This is crazy. And y'all walk up on him after he just killed 2 of his neighbors and y'all talk for 15 minutes before you take him out. Am I in an alternative universe? Is the world retarded or I'm just a genius? Because this is insane, y'all. Somebody said he was a correctional officer. I think he was an undercover cop. A correctional officer turned undercover.
He basically was saying this: what's happening today is not going to end well.
Police say they used a license plate reader to find out where Pass was and found him in his black Honda CR-V.
Look at that. Y'all found him right there in that tight ass parking spot where you had to parallel park. Y'all had a conversation for 15 minutes. He had nowhere to run because it looked like, if let's say hypothetically he was parked right there, he couldn't just pull off because he's parallel parked. You know, the cops more than likely had him cornered. But you telling me in 15 minutes time, you were not able to apprehend this suspect without shooting him. 15 minutes, you could have tased him within the first minute, second minute, third minute. Soon as he didn't pay attention to your commands, soon as he didn't adhere to your command, because at this point, he's a fugitive. All it is command. Ain't no 15-minute conversations going on. It's get out the car, put your motherfucking hands up where I can see him, get on the motherfucking ground before we blow your head off, you know, because this is how the cops talk. Get down. Throw your keys out the car. If he ain't taking heed to that, you can tase him or take other measures. But 15-minute conversation. He could be somewhere else. This man could be halfway to Punta Cana right now. They could have killed off a character. This could be a whole ritual in our faces.
They captured a plate on a black car indicating that the car, and we now know the occupant of that car, were wanted for a double horrific homicide. As they exited their police car, they walked up to the car. The male jumped out of the car with a knife in his hand and took off running.
Hold on now. Y'all had, the news just said y'all had 15-minute conversation. How did he just jump out the car running now? Y'all need a warrant to see if the gun was in the car, but he had a knife. Why the hell he didn't use the gun? This is crazy. Rollo said that man that went overseas. He watching our live stream right now. This is crazy. This is some Halloween ritual stuff going on right here. So now all of a sudden he jumped out and ran. But yo, you know what they do? They like to do psychological warfare on the news, man. It is to confuse you. This information war is to confuse you. Listen, the Most High is not the author of confusion. If it looks fake, sounds like a patsy, sounds like something fugazi, and you got to believe your instincts, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's going to keep you on point.
Police allege Pass killed his upstairs neighbor, 47-year-old Vladimir Mathurin, and his 27-year-old stepson, Shinwa Mode, after having ongoing noise disputes. The incident happening 5 miles away inside their East Flatbush apartment building. So neighbors in Bath Beach are shocked it escalated to their neighborhood.
To know that this took
Because she had pulled him away because he might have used that knife for real. And she knew what the mission was. She knew who the hit was, and she didn't know if he was going to take the neighbor out. So she, hey, no, baby, calm down. Because she ain't know if the husband was going to be end up one catching the charge. So she turned him around where he was left vulnerable and in danger, because she'd be in on it. Because that's crazy to go out there and get involved like that. Yep, Psyop City, NYLA. Somebody say NYLA and ATL. Yeah, I mean, this is crazy.
placed right on the corner of my house at the time where our children are going to school makes us feel very uneasy.
Now, a live look back out here at the scene. It is still unclear why Pass was hiding out in this section of Brooklyn. If he knew someone in the area, possibly, or if he was hiding in this car this entire time. Those are questions that we asked police during those.
Now, we're talking about a former cop. Why the hell would he be hiding in a car? He has a knife on him. And he darts at the cops with the knife, which is a suicide mission. He knew he would die if he do that. Why would he do that? As a former cop, unless you were trying to commit suicide, why would you dart at the cops with a knife? And then why not just use the gun to kill yourself if that's what you were trying to do? This just doesn't make no sense, bro. There's nothing logical about this.
Press conferences. However, they tell us that this is all part of their ongoing investigation. So keep it here with us. We'll continue to keep you updated. But for now, we are live this afternoon.
Here's the thing. They're going to never find that gun. That gun is never going to be found. Where's the outline of the body? We need to find out which street that is. Is it a blood stain out there? Is there anything out there? Like what? They're never going to find that gun because it was a police gun, allegedly. It had to be a cop's gun. It had to be a police gun. That's the only thing that makes any logical sense, y'all. Why else would the news say, the gun wasn't registered to him, but, we got to get a warrant to even check his vehicle to see if the gun is in there. Does that make any sense? They got to get a warrant to even find the gun. That gun is vanished. That gun is done. That's the story they gave to the public. We're not going to ever hear about that gun. That gun is going to be in police custody, and it is what it is. That was a police gun. There's no doubt about that.
From Bath Beach, Brooklyn, John Diaz, CBS 2 News.
John, thank you.
Yeah, he was a sleeper cell. Now we need to find out why that other brother, Baldimi, I know I'm butchering the man's name. May he rest in peace, but we got to find out more about his life and why he was targeted, because he was a targeted individual. He made enemies with the wrong people. And this is what happened. A lot of time you get put on these watch lists and local law enforcement be involved on it. And a lot of times it's because you make an enemy with someone. It really can happen that way too. All targeted individuals are not just revolutionaries or something special about them. Sometimes you just make enemies with the wrong person. They put you on the list, and now you getting messed with. It's noise campaigns. They're disturbing your peace at every corner. You get these neighbors that's crazy. And it is what it is. Just because you made enemies with the wrong person doesn't mean you're a whistleblower. Doesn't mean any of that. You just got some hateful, demonic, wicked, evil people out there who would like to line you up. Now, we're talking about sleeper cells, and I got to speak briefly about Robert Card as well. Because for those who don't know, there's more evidence that came out about Robert Card, the shooter who took out 18 people. There's more evidence that came out about him having high-powered hearing aids. And I want to share an audio with you all from some time ago about DARPA's secret mind control technology. Because Robert Card, in my opinion, was a product of DARPA's secret mind control technology, V2K, voice to skull. And I believe he was used. Now, he had to be evil and demonic as well. There's no doubt about that, because when a V2K can work on you, that means you didn't have the Most High to begin with. If this technology can work on you and have you crash out and do these mass shootings, you are not of the Most High to begin with. So let me make that very clear. So it's no way, shape, or form am I victimizing the culprit who offed all those people. It's nothing like that. It's just that we need to be aware of these things in case you feel those wavelengths or hear certain things or certain frequencies, or you're getting these impulsive thoughts in your mind and you wondering what's going on. You got to fight that spiritually. You got to plug in and tap in with the Most High, because these demons, they got their technology and we're very aware of their inventions. But I want to play the audio because I don't want to get hit with copyright. And this is coming from the History Channel a couple of years ago.
What makes up a full life?
Let's talk about it.
To lend a hand, being present while feeling our.
The U.S. government's Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, commonly known as DARPA, announces a bold initiative to develop what they call next generation non-surgical neurotechnology. It is designed to allow
next generational non-surgical neurotechnology. That's what Robert Card had in his head when he went under psychiatric treatment and he had to get these hearing aids because he was a firearms instructor. And I've actually done firearms instructing in the field, and it affects your ears. If you're not properly protecting your ears with the right insulation, you will need hearing aids because you're constantly shooting every day. I used to test fire guns every day, the same kind of guns that Robert Card used. So it's understandable that he had to get hearing aids if you're not properly doing what you need to do to protect your ears, right? But they have this neurotechnology that doesn't have to be surgical, and it can actually put thoughts in your head. So when people be thinking that this is all conspiracy stuff, Robert Card said out of his mouth that he heard voices after getting those hearing aids, right? Telling him to do things, telling him to attack the army base and so forth.
of the human brain to directly interface with machines.
We know that DARPA is exploring human-machine interfaces that include direct connections between the brain and outside systems.
Direct human interface from outside systems right to your brain link, so they can actually control what you're doing to a degree, right?
That's been from the beginning of DARPA's information technology mission, and it continues to this day. DARPA has created some of the most influential technologies of all time, things that we use and take for granted every day, including the project that became the internet. They've created self-driving cars, stealth technology, GPS that fits in your pocket. That's DARPA's specialty, to imagine the future and create it.
Now, DARPA is Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, for the record.
Technology that is actually very much on the verge of being a reality that is being fielded. Is we could have a sensor maybe on the surface of our head, or maybe
A sensor on the surface of our head. That hearing aid made that shooter do what he did. A sensor that's on the surface of our head, like a hearing aid.
be implanted somewhere in our body, in our brain, or something that allows us to interact directly with our communications gear, our processing gear, our weapon systems, and so on.
Wow. They can use their weapon systems. They can talk directly to their victims through frequency, directly to their brains, ladies and gentlemen. So imagine you got all these people in society right now walking around with these earpieces. A lot of y'all be thinking people wearing earpieces, right? Nah. Those Bluetooth earpieces, some of those things are straight from DARPA. That's a new age technology. And the agents that they got, the field agents, the sleeper cells, they're walking amongst the cities. Listen, this war is going to be fought a whole nother way, y'all. This war going to be fought a whole nother way. And they're going to target certain populations. They're going to target certain people. This is why we got to move accordingly in this day and age.
But now imagine we take that technology and we can control robots at a distance with it. Even fly drones. You put this sensor on and you think the right way, and you can increase the speed of the fan by thinking and controlling that thought with direct to mind or mind machine interfacing. With that type of capability, you could control all sorts of buttons and mechanisms in equipment.
Mind-machine interfaces will have many applications in both civilian and military life.
Civilian and military life. So there's civilians. There are civilians being used as weapons, Manchurian candidates. And at a flip of a switch, these sleeper cells are going to crash out. We in the season of the sleeper cells. What we learned this Halloween weekend is that they want to get some type of firearm reform going. That's the agenda, firearm reform, as well as introduce the super soldiers. Introduce the mind control on a whole nother level where they can do it at a timely fashion. And they're still perfecting their execution on all of this. But this is what seems to be taking place.
But there are those who believe that this same technology could also be used by DARPA as a new form of mind control.
Wow.
Like their counterparts at
A new form of mind control, you hear it?
the CIA. DARPA-funded researchers have spent decades investigating how the human mind can be altered. In 1965,
Project Pandora.
DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project
Electromagnetic,
reportedly ended
EMF.
in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day.
It's mind control, corruption of the mind, corruption of the soul.
Explicit programs of DARPA to read and write to human brains, whether it's through direct implants within the brain or wearing some kind of cap. So these things are
They can even do it through a cap. They're saying wearing some type of cap, you can do it. So imagine you just got a little toboggan on your head and they can put a layer underneath it, thin as silk. Because look, if you look at this cap, it's pretty thin. It's thin like silk. You mean to tell me they can use a damn skull cap? If they can use a skull cap, they damn sure can use a damn hearing aid to control these sleeper cells.
are being worked on, and we know that.
So what's the next step? Maybe the next step is we can send instructions and information to an actual person.
We can send instructions and information to an actual person. And they're making it seem like that could be the next step. They've been doing that. They're doing that.
From a distance with this kind of technology to let another person control their actions. But that could be something that could be malicious.
If there's some way to do it from a distance,
it can be something that's malicious, and they can do it from a distance. Robert Card is a victim of this. Robert Card was a sleeper cell who went through mind control.
greater distance than something that you can wear on your scalp, that would be the ultimate technological achievement that would fall into this realm of mind control and direct human-machine interface that DARPA may well want to keep secret.
In the near future, DARPA may possess the technology to remotely control the human mind. But as concerning as that may be, according to some scientists, a more permanent kind of mind control technology is looming. And it involves modifying the human brain by altering the human body's DNA.
Wow. So by altering the human DNA, they can do this more seamlessly, meaning they can do it by the masses. By doing what? Altering the human DNA by what, y'all? By what? So imagine everybody who altered their DNA can be controlled to a degree using this very same technology. We talking about a straight up digital wipeout, facts. We talking about the people around you, some of them that they're doing things they can't even control no more. See, it's all to turn the 2/3 against the 1/3. It's all to target the chosen ones of the Most High. And these people can lose control, lose all inhibitions of who they are, lose control of their faculties and whatnot, and they could be possessed by a central hub, a motherboard. Why? Because the DNA has been altered. Now they're able to use these weapons against them. See, a lot of what took place opened a lot of people up for these demonic weapons to be used against them.
The future of mind control, and the future being right now, because these experiments are being done, is using gene editing tools. One of them would be CRISPR. The way it works is take the CRISPR, which are these short alternating repeats of DNA. You put that together with an enzyme called Cas. And so you take the CRISPR that you want to use, and you put these pieces together that can be injected and insert this DNA.
They can be injected. Oh, they told you it was an injection. This was on the History Channel 2 years ago.
Certain areas of the brain so that we can change brain cells and turn you into something you wouldn't otherwise be.
Turn you into something that you would not otherwise be. They can turn you into a terrorist if they wanted to.
In this way, gene editing technologies like CRISPR really form a definite basis for future mind control.
These are things that DARPA has investigated. Every technology has potential for good or evil, and who defines what's good and what's evil, and who uses it for what purpose? These are all questions that have been asked about everything from rockets to self-driving vehicles. We still don't have a good handle on the ethics of various technologies that we use. The technologists tend not to be so concerned with the ethics. That seems to be the domain of other people, policymakers, for example.
Wow. You know, they just said policymakers. So could it be that the same people who are controlling the motherboard, if you will, could they be doing these things to advance certain policies, to change certain laws? Could it fit in with a narrative that they're trying to promote on the public? I would say so. I would believe that they're in cahoots with the lawmakers. And if they can stage certain events, if they can create certain events, then they can push an agenda. Oh, I would say so. But hey, you know, all praises to the Most High that you, brothers and sisters, have the eyes to see in the ears to hear, because everybody don't get it. I personally don't understand why it's so difficult for people to wake up and understand that they're in a real war, and that you got to stay on point and game tight. And it's not about being a quote unquote conspiracy theorist, wearing a tinfoil hat, you know, walking around paranoid or full of anxiety. But the thing is, we must use critical thinking skills in this day and age. We must understand how deep the rabbit hole goes so we don't fall into the strong delusion ourselves. And we can move accordingly. See, the knowledge that you're getting here on this platform will keep you sharp. So when there's certain impositions coming against you, you're not only seeing it from a physical level, but you're seeing it from a spiritual and a mental level. So it's about truth. Name of this channel is New Breed Global Truth, because what I do over here is just give you the truth. It's just that simple. So you take with it what you would have do, and stay blessed out here. Be on point. Get out of these neighborhoods, these, as Pastor Dow calls them, population centers, and start to gravitate towards being down south in rural areas, or even perhaps consider communal living. This is what we do. YahWillGather.us/brotherhood or sisterhood. And you can see how you can be a part of our community that we're building up. All right. So join me on this venture of being set apart and doing what we need to do as people, so we don't end up neighbors with one of these hooligans, sleeper cells, thugs, Manchurian candidates, weirdos, gang stalkers, perps, masons. We don't want to be neighbors with them, because we never know when they're going to crash the hell out. It's real evil in the heart of a lot of these cities. It's time to move accordingly. All right. Now, with that being said, if you like to support my content, support me at newbreed.love. Get yourself some love notes. It helps to stimulate our economy. And that's how I accept donations. And I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for catching another stream. Make sure y'all turn the post notification bell on so you can get these videos as they're being uploaded. And be sure to subscribe to my other channel, New Breed Universal ENT. I will be doing more content over there shortly, any day now, and uploading music content as well. So look, I thank each and every one of y'all. I want y'all to be safe out here. With that being said, shalom and peace.